Good evening. Welcome to Vibin with Ashley Live. I'm your host, Ashley Live. Thank you for joining me on this extremely important day. We actually just got a new president this afternoon, and it's a huge day in the United States. So I've been watching the news all day and can't get enough of all the coverage with Joe Biden. So thank you guys for pulling yourselves away from your TV or YouTube or whatever you're watching the coverage on to join our show. We have a really great show this evening. Jacob Daniel Murphy from season 18 of NBC's hit show The Voice will be joining us in the room shortly. And so how I start every show off is with a song lyric. So tonight I'm going to use Lizzo, Good as Hell, which I'm sure you guys all know this song very well. The reason I pick Lizzo's Good as Hell is because this is a song that Jacob sung in the battles, and I'm just going to share the song lyrics with you. Gotta take a deep breath, time to focus on you, all the big fights, long nights that you've been through. I got a bottle of tequila I've been saving for you. Boss up and change your life. You can have it all, no sacrifice. And so the reason that I shared that song lyric is because Jacob sung it during the battles, and Jacob's in the room right now, so I'm gonna bring him in. Perfect timing, by the way, Jacob. Jacob!
Hi,
Going?
it's great. How are you?
Doing well, thank you. So when you joined the chat, I was actually sharing a song lyric from Good as Hell by Lizzo. And I was telling the people that are already in the room that if they didn't know that you sung the song during the battles.
Okay, yeah. That was such a fun experience, and I love the lyrics. Lyrics are just all around awesome, incredible.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of like with Lizzo. Lizzo is so empowering and positive and fun, but she'll also smack you in the face.
Yes, yes. I think that was the really fun part about doing the song, especially with doing it with Tanisha, is just having that opportunity to kind of deliver a performance that actually like meant something in the message, and allowed us to really kind of carry that with our vocals. So that was like definitely really fun.
hmm What does that song mean to you?
Um, I that song really means a lot about empowerment. Like for me, I mean, I think it's a general idea, but especially just as a gay man and a gay artist, like that song meant a lot, especially performing it on national television.
Yeah.
Because it's mainly geared toward the female audience, but like obviously it's something that everybody can take with them, and I definitely tried to kind of show that emotion on stage because it really did mean a lot to me to be able to sing those lyrics. So yeah.
Yeah, of course. So do you want to talk about being a gay artist in the R&B world?
Yeah, thank you for asking. It's definitely it's a lonely place at times just because, there's not a lot of artists like us out there right now. And so I'm really kind of excited to be a part of just kind of like a movement in terms of bringing that to the forefront and kind of bringing a sense of normalcy like with it. Just because I think a lot of gay artists in the industry right now kind of represent a lot of like the pop, house, EDM. There's some other genres and stuff that I'm not mentioning, but
Right.
um, off the top of my head. But like, there's not a whole lot that I've seen in terms of just R&B, soul, kind of hip hop, you know, uh, artists. So I'm really excited, to really kind of hopefully help be a part of that group of people that's just like representing that side of the industry.
And what would you like audiences across the world, people who are tuned into this chat, what would you like them to know? Any challenges about being a gay musician?
Yeah. I think there's still kind of a stigma in a way.
hmm
Um, Especially, with just within like the R&B world, and I think it's just kind of like what we used to deal with as a gay community before everything was so accepted, you
Right.
know, from today. I think it's still kind of like that somewhat in the industry.
hmm
And so it makes it difficult sometimes, to kind of, you know, meet people and to collaborate in some ways, just because, you know, if people know that about you, it's not something that is well received most of the time. So
How do
I'm
you think
luckily like,
received though? I would feel like it would be more received nowadays than it would have been like 10 years ago.
yeah, I mean, you would think so, but I think just because, you know, being gay in the music industry already in itself is hard enough, just because, you know, for so long music was representing kind of like the straight side of things per se, and you know, I think we're still kind of catching up in terms of representing that in all sides of the industry, and so. Um, you know, it is somewhat of a, there's still somewhat of a journey in terms of bringing that to a sense of, again, normalcy, and being able to appreciate that for everybody all around. So we have
Mhm.
some work to do.
For paving the way, because the thing is, I feel like when we listen to music and we're like, oh, we really like that singer, and then we get to learn more about them and we're like, oh, it's a gay singer, or you know, whatever it might be, and then you're like, oh, it just like kind of opens your world a little bit.
Yeah, it does. You know, and I think the thing is that's so different is, you know, I like people knowing that I am, you know, a gay artist, but I don't necessarily want that to be the the crux of like what people know about me,
Right.
because I don't want that to kind of define who I am. I think for me, you know, and it's different for everybody. For me, you know, being attracted to men and wanting to have a husband someday as a man, is just kind of a small part of who I am.
Right.
And, you know, I want the music to kind of be the first thing that people kind of gravitate toward to.
Mm-hmm.
And then the fact that like I am gay is something else that they can kind of connect to, or attempt to, you know, on the back burner.
That,
So,
let the music speak for itself.
yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
because your voice is next level. It truly is.
Thank you so much.
So your musical journey started at the age of 5, and your mother played a huge part in that. Tell us a little bit about your childhood.
Yeah, I was very very blessed growing up in the household that I grew up in. I'm part of a multiracial family, so my father is Caucasian and Mexican, and my mom is Filipino, and so it was very, I was very blessed to grow up not only within my immediate family, but I have a huge kind of extended family who is my biggest support system, and I'm very thankful for them. In terms of music, I was very very blessed to be able to kind of grow up in the household in terms of like my mom playing music all the time, and so it was never really kind of a conscious thing.
Right.
Music was just always there, and as I reflect, you know, back on that, I look back and realize that a lot of these artists that really helped shape me, the connection is just very different in terms of like my love and adoration for Aretha Franklin.
Mhm.
I, you know, have a connection to her that feels like she, you know, she was like a family member to me, just because of like how intimate my relationship was with her music growing up. And
Mhm.
so a lot of those people who I listened to and kind of shaped and molded me as an artist, or at least founded my roots, I have very kind of personal connections with, because of the music. So I'm very thankful to my mother and my father for those experiences in that childhood. So
Amazing. So other than Aretha, what other music did you listen to growing up?
oh, it was very eclectic. I mean, anything from Aretha Franklin to Stevie Wonder, Frank Sinatra, James Taylor, Bonnie Raitt, Edie Gourmet, Whitney Houston, um, Journey, Bad Company. I was a fan of the opera, like literally like
Hey.
anything and everything. Like there was really there was nothing off limits. My mom just played whatever she wanted to hear, and you know, indirectly that became something that was a part of my life. And I really credit my mom for that, because that has helped me just kind of shape a really well-rounded openness to music in general. I'm not that kind of person that is closed off, you know, to certain genres or whatever. It may not be my favorite, but I still have just an appreciation for the fact that somebody use their gifts and talents to be able to create such incredible art. And so I'm very thankful to Mom. So thank you, Mom.
Thank you,
For that.
Mom.
Yeah.
I, moms are the heart of a family because my mom also played incredible music for me growing up. And like, I just remember her playing certain albums for me. And I'm like, oh my gosh, but that stuck with me when I was like 5 and dancing around the living room. So thank
Yeah.
you to all the moms. Thank you for bringing music into
Yeah.
like, because it really changes who you
It really
are.
does.
Like when you said Aretha Franklin feels like a family member. Like
Hmm.
that's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was that. I'm very thankful for that. And then the fact that it kind of became full circle with me being able to pay tribute to her on The Voice with my audition song, like that. I can't even put into words like what that meant to me, just because it was just so profound. So to have had that opportunity meant so much. So yeah.
Mhm. So yes, I wanted to touch on that as well. You were on season 18 of NBC's hit show The Voice. And what Aretha Franklin song did you pick for your blind audition?
It was Until You Come Back to Me.
What?
And it was originally written by Stevie Wonder. So it was, being able to represent both of them was such an honor. And it was just kind of really mind blowing to be able to share that stage in that way with so many other incredible artists, and be able to kind of bring, that part of myself and my childhood, to kind of show to America per se. So yeah.
And what about that song spoke to you? Because obviously, when you think of Aretha Franklin's, you know, singles, B-sides, all of that, I mean, there's just so much legendary music. So what about that song spoke to you?
Again, I think it just goes back to the impact that she had on my childhood. And as I started to mold into an actual like vocalist, like in my teens and stuff, and I started to kind of dig back into my roots, that was one of the songs that I just had a distinct memory of when I was a kid, and
Mm-hmm.
I naturally just gravitated toward it. And it was just like one of those things where I wanted to. It wasn't a popular song,
Yeah.
but it was a song that meant a lot to me. And because I was so attached to it, I had such a connection to it and to her. I really wanted to be able to showcase, my love for that.
Mm-hmm. Amazing. What's something that surprised you about your time on The Voice?
Um, oh, that's a good question. I think for me, what was surprising was just how, and this sound really weird, but I guess for me, like how fun it was. I
Yeah.
think, when you're in that type of setting, sometimes, things can be super daunting, super stressful, and somewhat cutthroat in some ways. But my experience on The Voice was really, really incredible, and I walked away from it, with incredible connections and great friendships. And just being able to have that experience, of going through the blind audition and the battles and stuff, was something I will obviously hold with me forever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I've heard that people from The Voice, like you just said, they have these lifelong friendships. Who from The Voice would you consider like one of your besties?
Yeah, definitely Taylor Green from my season. She's my rock. And if she watches this, she's gonna bust up laughing. But she's literally like my rock, and we struck a friendship, from the very beginning of our time together, and we've since become extremely close friends. I mean, there's a bunch of other people, especially from my team on Team Blake, but Taylor, especially because we live near each other in LA, like we're just go-to besties, like like none other. So it's been great.
Aw, I love that.
Yeah.
What was Blake like as a coach?
I'm sorry. What was that?
What was Blake like as a coach?
Yeah. Blake was so great. He was so awesome. Obviously, being on his team first for myself, not being in country or rock or anything like that,
Yeah.
I was a little nervous at first, but he was so awesome. He was so kind, so giving, like with his energy and his time, and he you know, he was so just gracious. And like during our rehearsals for the blind auditions, or the blind auditions, for the battle rounds, um, he just took a moment, like after Tanisha and I finished up, and he just kind of gave me a hug, and he just was like, you know, he just had some really great words of encouragement for me, and I will just forever be grateful for him, like for that. And yeah, he's also super tall, and he's like a shipping crate. Like he's just so big. Like like when you like you try to hug him and stuff, it's just like your whole body's just like, oh my gosh. So
Yeah.
that was fun.
He's like goddess. Like you're like, whoa, like you're
Yeah,
not but like in real life, you're just like, whoa.
exactly. Yeah.
How would you describe the music that you create?
Um, I would definitely say, in terms of like relatable artists and stuff, I would probably say it's kind of like Frank Ocean meets Amy Winehouse meets Jenna Aiko meets Jasmine Sullivan,
Mhm.
kind of, where it's a little bit, it's like alternative R&B, you know, neo soul R&B, but it has like just kind of like the vocals of, you know, some great artists and stuff, and that's really kind of what I pushed for, like in my music.
Mhm. And what would you say is your creative process like?
Um, it it honestly varies. For me, it just, it can really depend on kind of what I'm feeling in the moment. And sometimes, because I play piano and I play guitar, and
Mhm.
so sometimes like I will start a song on piano, sometimes I'll start a song on guitar, sometimes, you know, I'll start with the music, or sometimes I'll just start with the lyrics. And so it just really kind of depends on what's going on, like creatively, and just what's the inspiration at the time. But yeah.
Now, a few of your musical inspirations you've already said, like Aretha Franklin, Amy Winehouse, Beyonce, countless other people. What other musicians do you admire?
Um, I love, love Leanne LaHavas.
Yeah.
She is probably hands down one of my favorite artists, and an influence in a lot of ways. And I'm thankful to have discovered her when she, you know, first came out as, you know, as an artist, and dropped her debut album.
Mhm.
And since then, just enjoying her journey and seeing how she's grown, has been so great. And the fact, so I actually, little sidebar, I got to actually meet her. Was It was in 2019.
Oh,
Yeah, she was at my gym in here in North Hollywood, and yeah, I was just like, I was like, that's not her. Like that can't be her. And she was like she was like using a machine, and I was stretching, and I saw her and I was like, oh my God, like that's Leanne LaHavas. Like, what is she doing here? And I remember I was like, I have to go meet her. If I don't take this opportunity, I'm going to regret this for the rest of my life. And I walked up to her, and actually it was at the end of my workout, because I was like all sweaty and everything. And I just remember being like, I'm so sorry. I'm like super sweaty and probably a little smelly, but like, I just wanted to come and say, you know, how much I love you and your work and everything like that. And she was just such an angel, and she was so sweet, and she gave me a hug, and she was just like, you know, thanking me, you know, and was really appreciative and stuff. And I was just like, you had no idea. So thank you. So yeah, she's definitely a musician that I just have so much respect for. So yeah.
mhm. And thank you for sharing that story because, like, when you think of someone you look up to, it's like, what are the chances they go to the same gym as you?
Yeah. Yeah. That was what got me. I was like, wait, what? Like, hold on here. So that was cool.
And I used to go to a gym too. So when you said gym and like hugging her, I was like, oh, people used to hug each other?
Right. Exactly.
Right?
I know. I know. Oh, yes. Sorry. That was also in 2019. So this is pre-pandemic.
Yes. Before COVID.
Yeah, before COVID. Yeah.
Who would you like to collaborate with?
Oh, that's a hard one. That's a great question. I have, oh, that's such a good question. I think right now, I mean, I've dreamed of this, but I would love to do a collaboration with Jasmine Sullivan.
Mm,
You know, I think she is just the truth. Like she's another artist that I have, you know, she's been a huge inspiration and influence to like my vocal development and everything. And she just dropped a new project literally like a week ago, and I have been blasting it on repeat for like the past week. But she is definitely someone that I would love to hopefully someday just be able to collaborate with, even if it's just me writing a song for her or co-writing with her or whatever. Like just to be able to have that experience, I would be so grateful.
Just put it out into the universe. So you should
Yes.
definitely reach out to her, because I had somebody on the show a couple weeks ago and they were like, "Oh, I've always wanted to work with this artist." And their manager reached out to that artist and they're like, "Oh yeah, we'll do a song together." And she's like, "I was freaking out." So shoot your shot to Jasmine Sullivan.
Yes.
Be like, "Hey, how are you? Such and such and such." And then, hey,
Yes.
right?
Putting it out there. Good
Put it
vibes,
out
good
there,
energy.
manifest it, you write it down, you do all that good stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
So, what artists or genres have you been listening to during quarantine? I know you said Jasmine Sullivan, but who else?
Yeah, I've been listening to anything from Beyonce's Black is King album to Miley Cyrus's collaboration with Stevie Nicks.
Yeah.
I think it's like Edge of Midnight or something like that. And then I love Nick Hakim. He's incredible. Leon Havas, of course. Um, who else? Of course, I'm like blanking right now. But yeah, a bunch of those people. It's just kind of been across the board. But yeah, those are definitely some artists that Jenna Aiko, love her. So yeah.
Awesome. If you weren't doing music, what other career path would you choose and why?
That's another great question. Um, I think for me, it would probably be a split between being like a psychiatrist. I was blanking on the word. A psychiatrist or something medical related in terms of like rehabilitation.
Mm-hmm.
I always have had a fascination with like human anatomy and just kind of how the body like works, especially how it heals itself. And so that's always been something that's like appealed to me. And so in my mind, I was even like, you know, if I wasn't doing music, you know, I'd probably do, you know, this, and this. I actually grew up too with, I have an aunt and uncle who, brother and sister they're both chiropractors. So
Oh,
I kind of grew up like in that world of holistic medicine, and it was just always so fascinating to me. And then the other thing would be like psychiatry, just because like for me, just you know being able to the mental state and you know how we think and you know our emotions and stuff is always going to be something that's fascinating to me, especially as an artist, you know, who writes their own music, you know, because you're telling your stories and you're having to really process through, you know, things that you go through, and to have music as that outlet is a huge blessing. So that's probably another avenue that I would probably look, you know, want to do.
I love it because you talked about like maybe being a chiropractor, but also psychologically helping people. So like physically,
Hmm.
but also emotionally helping people. And I think that's
Yeah,
so important because you're right. Like you could break your hip or something and then need physical rehabilitation, right?
yeah,
But then also mental health is important too because kind of
yeah,
everybody needs it.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully I'm able to kind of give, you know, help through in terms of like, you know, emotional and mental counsel through music, you know, people, you know, can listen and relate and stuff. So partially being able to kind of do that like a tiny bit, but just through my own stories, obviously. But yeah,
Music definitely is healing. And I feel those lyrics, sometimes you hear them and you're like, oh, that like touches me in a way. It made me think of that. So
yeah,
I definitely think that's so important as well.
yeah, definitely.
What song do you wish you wrote and why?
Oh man, you know what? Normally, it's very hard to think of a song, but off the top of my head right now, it would definitely be "Girl Like Me" by Jasmine Sullivan and her. That song, she literally just dropped it like a week and a half ago or so, and it just hits home so well. And just, I mean, the whole song itself, from the production to the lyrics to the vocals, is just like, it's 100%, like, it's crazy. But I think lyrically, um, it's so telling right now just about the current, culture and society that we live in with, relationships, whether you're straight or if you're gay. And that's what I love about it, is that it's just so relatable. And I give high props and honors to everybody involved with that record, because it really is something that is just phenomenal. So yeah.
And if Jasmine Sullivan or her team is listening, Jake wants to work with you.
Exactly.
So what's next for you in 2021? Singles, albums, live stream. Talk to us about what's happening this year.
Yeah. You know, so kind of briefly, I came to LA in 2016, and that was like really kind of the jump into the industry for me. And I started out, I was like interning at a studio, which then turned into kind of ghostwriting for some artists and doing, placement writing. And, while I was doing that, I was starting to kind of like turn toward like my own artistry. And it took a little bit of searching and, exploring, who I was. And because at the time I actually wasn't completely like out, and obviously I was kind of lost as an artist, because it's like, if I'm not out, to myself or to the world, like, it's going to really kind of impact you in that way. And so when I came out, it was in 2018. And that really just kind of opened up so much for me in terms of understanding myself more, and being able to understand where I wanted to go as an artist and what I wanted to say. And since then, I've been just kind of writing. I've been writing a lot, recording a lot, and unfortunately for me, I'm very much a perfectionist, especially when it comes to just like recording vocals, because it's like I want that stuff to just be as spot on as possible. Yeah. And it took me, realizing that I don't want to record like in a major studio or whatever, because I want to be able to just do it on my own, because it is such a vulnerable process for myself. And so I've been working for the past like 2 years, and I have a bunch of like, songs that I'm just working on that are lined up. And so basically, this year is going to be more so just kind of releasing singles. And then I think at the end of the year, it's going to be an EP coming out. But the first single that I'm going to be part of, that I actually wrote, that I'm featured on with my producer, is coming out on February 12th. So, so if you guys are, listening or watching, heads up for that. So, yeah.
Oh, that's only a couple weeks away.
Yeah, so it's exciting. It's kind of scary, but I'm really excited to finally, be a part of a release that is featuring just kind of original like work from myself. So
very cool. So yeah, guys, if you don't already follow Jacob, please make sure to follow Jacob so you can see when he's releasing new music.
Hey.
What's the best advice you've ever been given?
Oh, you're asking all the hard questions, Ashley.
I know, right?
Yeah. I think the best advice that I've been given is probably, it's so cliche. It's so cliche, but just to really be yourself. Because again, if you really kind of analyze that and think about it, it's like being yourself frees you from so much that you can bind yourself with, in terms of comparing yourself with others, or just not feeling you're good enough or whatever. And understanding where you are and who you are is just so paramount to kind of how we live our lives every day. And so realizing that while I may not be 6 foot tall or look like some other people, or I may not even sound like these other artists, being myself, in itself is such a powerful thing, because my story is, just as unique as the person next to me. And so, I think that's just really profound, as cliche as it is, but yeah.
I love it. Be yourself, live your truth, because you can't be doing what that other person's doing. Like, you need to be true to yourself.
Exactly.
And then you walk and you live differently when you're living in your truth. You can't just be like, oh, that person's doing XYZ. I'm
Yeah.
gonna, because then you're like, what am I doing?
Yeah, exactly.
So, what advice would you give to other musicians during this quarantine?
Um, I think what's really important, because, especially because we live in such an unprecedented time right now, I think it is maintaining your sense of peace, and sense of light, within yourself, and to, just keep creating. I think it's especially just because of the current age that we live in with music and technology. You have that ability to be able to continuously use your craft and hone your craft. And I think it's everybody has something to say. And even though you may not feel like your stuff isn't good enough, or it's not the right time or whatever, it is. It's gonna be. And so that's really important. I really feel like to kind of impart on the people, but also just making sure that you kind of maintain your sense of peace during this time, because it's a very trying time. So
Self-care
yeah.
is so whether that means writing,
Hmm.
watching TV, whatever self-care works for you, lean into
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
So, where can everybody that's in this chat right now, where can they find you on all social media channels?
Yeah. So I guess it's a kind of a good time too to talk about. So basically, all again, I've been working on stuff for the past like couple years, and also too just because of um, again, trying to understand who I am as an artist, and everything else. There was a sense of having to kind of be flexible, in terms of the artist development process, and
Mhm.
kind of what was going to fit. And I recently have been working with like my team, and I kind of went through a very, very quick rebranding. And so now, like my stage name now, I guess my artist name is just Murphy, but instead of a U, there's a V.
Mhm.
And I came from someone within my team, and I'm very indebted like to them, just because I have been through, in the artist development process, you figure out, you try things, it's very trial and error.
Right.
And I had I had personally gone through a lot of different names throughout the past like 3 years, and none of them really kind of stuck, because I just didn't. I don't know. I was in such a tumultuous place artistically, because I wasn't being able to nail down my sound and everything like that. And
Mhm.
then as things kind of were finalizing over the last year, and then the beginning of this year, one of the people on my team just suggested this name and stuff, and it just hit. I was like, wow, like, yes, Murphy is a very common surname, but it's just a strong name. And
Right.
so basically, I had everything changed over in the past week. So everybody can find me, whether it's, so Twitter and Instagram is just Murphy, the way my handle is spelled up in the little section up here. And then like my Facebook and my SoundCloud is just Murphy and then XO. So yeah.
Good stuff. So that's all the questions that I have for you. So now is going to be the part of the show where you perform for us. So take it away.
Okay, cool. Awesome. Let me just look this up real quick. Okay, cool. So I'm just gonna be singing a couple of covers for you guys, by two artists that are absolutely my favorite and some of my biggest influences. So if you guys enjoy them, I'm just gonna take a real quick sip of water. Cool. And the first one is "He Can Only Hold Her" by Amy Winehouse. She's one of my biggest influences too. So they both are, these both two artists. But yeah. He can only hold her so long. Lights are on, no one's home. She's so vacant, her soul is taken. He thinks, what's she running from? Now, how can he have her heart when it got stole? So he tries to pacify her. What's inside her never dies. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Even if she's content in his warmth, she is playing with urgency, searching kisses. The man she misses, the man that he longs to be. Now, how can he have her heart when it got stole? So he tries to pacify her. What's inside her never dies. So he tries to pacify her, but what's inside her never dies. No, he tries to pacify her, what's inside her never dies. Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Na na na. Yeah 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 yeah. Cool. So that's that one.
Give it up, guys. That was incredible.
Thank you. So I had to also kind of preface before I sing this next song. I kind of have like a minor cold thing going on. So I've been somewhat losing my voice the past couple days. So if I crack or anything like that, that's where it's coming from. So I'm trying my best to, keep it up. But yeah, this next song is probably one of my favorite songs of all time, and it's a song by one of my biggest influences. Her name is Lauryn Hill, and I won't even say the song name because I know you guys will all know it. But yeah, cool. Oops, sorry, one sec. Here we go. It could always so simple, but you'd rather make hard. Loving you is like a battle, yeah, and we both end up scars. Tell me who I had to be to get some reciprocity. See, no one loves you more than me, and no one ever will. It's just a sin game. that forces you to act this way, forces you to scream my name, then pretend, oh, that you can't stay. Tell me who I had to be to get some rest, some privacy. See, no one loves you more than me, and no one ever will. No matter how I think we grow, you always seem to let me know it ain't working. It ain't working. And when I try to walk away, you hurt yourself to make me stay. This is crazy. This is crazy. I keep letting you back in. How can I explain myself? It's painful as this thing has been. I just can't be with no one else. See, I know what we got to do. You let go, and I let go too. See, no one hurts me more than you, and no one ever will. No matter how I think we grow, you always seem to let me know it ain't working. It ain't working. And when I try to walk away, you hurt yourself to make me stay. This is crazy. This is crazy. Care for me, care for me. I want you there for me, there for me, there for me. Want you there for me, cry for me, cry for me. Want you die for me, give to me, give to me. Give to me, care for me, care for me. Want you there for me, there for me, there for me. There for me, cry for me, cry for me. Want you die for me, give, no, yeah, oh, there, cry, give, yeah, oh, cry, no, no, no. Woo! All right, that's
Give it
yeah.
up.
There we go.
Give it up. That was incredible.
Thank
Loved
you so
it.
much. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. So, guys, if you have any questions whatsoever for Jacob, please feel free to put them in the chat below. Jacob, I have one for you. How can people support you right now as a musician?
Yeah, I think the biggest show of support is, just kind of telling your friends, about me and, just sending links and stuff like that. I'm not even going to go into, being like, oh, follow me, da, 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 da. For me, I'm just kind of like, if you love it, you love it, great. If you can share it with people, that's the biggest show of support, for an artist, in my opinion, and for me. So, yeah.
Well, I'm going to say it. I think you should everybody that's watching, follow Jacob, because the art I bring on the show are incredible. And yes, please follow Jacob if you don't already.
Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. What instrument would you like to learn next?
That's a good question. I would love to learn either the bass
Cool.
or the trumpet.
Oh,
They're very different instruments, but I love I just love, the bass and the part that it has in songs, but I also love to hear it like solo.
Yeah.
And apart from that is, just the trumpet. I have an affinity, a huge, huge affinity for jazz music.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you again to mom. But so much so that I even have a trumpet tattooed on my arm.
What? Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, you need to pick up the trumpet now.
Yeah, so I'm like, I just always have gravitated within jazz music. I've always gravitated toward the trumpet, and I love artists like Louis Armstrong, and so I've just always wanted to. That's something in my mind. I'm like, I would love to pick that up, whenever I have the time. So
Very cool. I love it. So when did you get the trumpet tattoo?
um, just because, again, for me, like my affinity for jazz is so deep, and specifically that instrument, within like a standard or kind of a three-part set. It's just always it transports me. If you listen
Yeah.
to any song by Louis Armstrong or Louis Armstrong and Ella Fitzgerald, I just go to a different place, and partly just because that trumpet is just such a transformative, transcendent experience to listen to. So yeah,
Very cool. I love that.
thank
Where do
you.
you want to perform next?
I'm sorry, what was that?
Where do you want to perform next?
Um, Oh, hopefully once everything is back to a sense of normalcy again, one of my biggest goals this year is to, once I've released music and stuff, is to play at the Troubadour here in West Hollywood in Los Angeles.
Yes. Have you been there as a performer? Like
I
at the shows?
I've never been there as a performer, but I've been able to attend a show by oh my gosh, I'm so bad with names right now. Kevin, oh my gosh, I cannot think of his last name. I can't think of his last name. I'm so
No, it's okay.
sorry. But he's an incredible artist. He wrote, you guys can find him this way. He wrote "Pray You Catch Me" by Beyonce off of Lemonade. But sorry, what?
Kevin Garrett?
Kevin Garrett. I knew it was with a G. But he was. I mean, I fell in love with him, after I found out, who wrote that song, and I started listening to him. And then it was in 2019 where I had just such a privilege to see him live, and he was so incredible. And I just, the way that he emotes, like in his music, I was just like, oh my gosh. So yeah.
And the Troubadour has been there forever and ever and ever, and all the legendary musicians have. So I've never been there. I want to go there too. So please look there, and then I'll come see you.
Yes, I will definitely let you know when that happens.
Jess wants to know, when are we getting some new music from you?
Yeah, so I was talking to Ashley earlier, and I actually have a new, I'm featured on a song that's coming out February 12th, and it's by an artist named Magnus. It's MGNSS, and I actually wrote the song. He produced it, I wrote it, and I'm singing on it, but I'm just a featured artist on it. So I'm very, very thankful to be part of that. That release and to be featured on the song. So super excited about that. And then later on throughout the year, I'm going to be releasing singles to kind of build up to an EP.
Yay, awesome. So guys, last chance. Any other questions for Jacob? Right? Weird hold music.
Right?
Do you have any live streams coming up?
None that are scheduled right now, but I'm hoping to have some lined up for February and into March. Oddly enough, the last kind of pop-in live streams that I was having was literally almost a year ago in March, because it was for my birthday. Yeah. And that was like the beginning of quarantine. So it's just really, really kind of crazy that we've kind of already come through a year.
I know.
So
crazy.
But yeah, hopefully soon with the live streams.
When's your birthday?
March 29th. I'm an Aries baby.
On March 9th, when you said March, I was like, oh, because my
Yes.
or the whole world shut down, and I was like, what's going on?
Right. Yeah. I had a quarantine birthday, courtesy of my beautiful roommate. I don't know if she's in the chat right now, but she made it happen. So I was very thankful for that. But yeah, so I'm probably gonna have another one this year.
Yes, birthday live stream for your birthday. I think that would be
Yes.
because I feel like people who love music, we're always looking for the next thing. Like, oh, there's a live stream Saturday at 8 p.m. or oh, it's just like we
Yeah.
need to look forward to, and then
Yeah.
because we can't really go anywhere, so it's just fun.
Right.
Well, I'm gonna log in this live stream
Yeah.
because we're all just
Yeah.
in our
Totally.
chilling.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So guys, if there's no more questions for this chat, we're going to end it right here. Do you have any final words for the room, Jacob?
I want to thank everyone who, took time out of their day to come in and, listen to all the things that I had to say and, just kind of answer all the questions. And then I just really want to thank you, Ashley, just for the opportunity to be able to, kind of be interviewed by you and to, kind of be a part of your platform. So thank you so much just for, reaching out to me and having me on here.
Yay, Jacob, you're the best. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to chat with everyone and share your beautiful gift with us. Guys, if you don't already, please make sure you follow Jacob on all social platforms. And if you don't, please make sure to follow me, Vibin with Ashley Live.
Yes.
Musicians all the time. And we have a lot of fun here. So once again, Jacob, thank you again. And stay safe. We look forward to hearing all your incredible music and have a wonderful evening.
Thank you. You too. Stay safe. Thank you so much again.
Bye, guys.
Bye.